You know, the White House is more than just a building. It's more than 18 acres of land in Washington, D.C.
Millions of Republicans, more all the time, are feeling the pressure. The pressure to vote for the party, to toe the line, to pull the lever the way you always did before.
Joe Biden says he cares about law and order. He says he believes in our institutions, our safety, and the rule of law. So why is Joe Biden publicly appearing on stage with a convicted felon?
Ever wonder what happens when you mix a golf club, a smartphone, and an orange toupee? The Lincoln Project's new parody ads give us a hilarious peek into Trump's meltdown on the green. From missed putts to Twitter tantrums, these 8 new videos are a hole-in-one of political satire. But careful, you might laugh so hard you'll end up in the rough. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Alright folks, it's time to tee off with our favorite orange menace, Donald Trump. Picture this, a beautiful sunny day, perfectly manicured greens, and a not so perfectly manicured ego strutting onto the golf course. Grumpy Trumpy is ready to show off his tremendous skills, or so he thinks. As Trump approaches the first tee, you can practically see the confidence oozing from his spray-tanned pores. He's got his lucky MAGA hat on, probably thinking it'll magically improve his swing. Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
The Lincoln Project salutes Vice President Donald Trump. As Vice President, Trump will finally have the time to do the things that make him happiest. We at the Lincoln Project are confident that Donald Trump understands his position. Elon is smarter, wealthier, more charismatic, has a far superior and more successful social media platform and company. Talk about old movies, playing on his phone, admiring the assets of other men. Meanwhile, President Musk can get down to the business of running the country.
Our Donnie Diapers lines up for his first shot, puffing out his chest like a peacock with a bad hairpiece. He takes a deep breath, winds up, and whiff! The ball barely makes it off the tee, dribbling away like a deflated balloon. It's almost as sad as his attempts to claim election fraud. But our persistent little orange turd isn't one to give up easily. He tries again and again and again, each swing more desperate than the last. It's like watching a toddler try to open a childproof bottle. Frustrating, yet oddly entertaining. With every missed putt, Trump's face gets redder and redder. He's starting to look less like a golfer and more like a tomato ripening in the sun. You'd think with all that practice on the taxpayer's dime during his presidency, he'd have improved at least a little. But nope, he's still as useless on the golf course as he was in the Oval Office. As his frustration builds, so does the entertainment value for the rest of us. Trump's tiny hands are gripping that golf club tighter than he held onto his delusions of a second term. And just when you think it can't get any better, it does. In a fit of rage that would make a 2-year-old proud, Trump smashes his golf club on the ground. The expensive stick explodes into a shower of golf club confetti. It's like a party, but instead of celebrating, we're all laughing at the tantrum of a grown man who can't hit a tiny white ball.
He did not make a single appeal to a moderate voter, to an independent voter, to a centrist voter, or even to the millions and millions of Republican voters who voted for Nikki Haley this year or Ron DeSantis. That no matter what happens with Joe Biden, no matter what he decides or what happens in the Democratic Party, you can never take your foot off the gas of attacking Donald Trump.
When did conservative values become about one man? When did faith go from looking upward to looking the other way? Donald Trump doesn't represent the party of Lincoln.
As he storms off the course, you can almost hear tiny violins playing the world's smallest pity party. Poor Donnie, defeated by a game he claims to be so good at. It's almost like his golfing skills are as real as his business acumen. All talk, no action. But folks, if you thought our orange friend's golf tantrum was entertaining, just wait till you see what happens when he tries to tweet about it. Ever wonder what happens when you take Twitter away from a man who used it like a toddler uses a security blanket? Well, we're about to find out. Picture this. Grumpy Trumpy, still steaming from his golf course meltdown, reaches for his phone like a baby grabbing for a pacifier. His tiny fingers start tapping away, but something's not right. The bird has flown the coop.
Joe Biden says he cares about law and order. He says he believes in our institutions, our safety, and the rule of law. So why is Joe Biden publicly appearing on stage with a convicted felon? In January 2025, the future that generations were warned about will arrive. We know AI will change everything, but a far greater threat is here now. Because that day in January isn't about artificial intelligence. It's about actual stupidity.
Trump's face goes on a journey that would make a soap opera actor jealous. Confusion, disbelief, then sheer panic. Our favorite orange turd tries every social media app he can think of. Facebook, nope. Instagram, no dice. In a moment of desperation, he even considers TikTok. Can you imagine Trump trying to do one of those dance challenges? It'd be like watching a drunk giraffe trying to do the Macarena. As each app fails him, Trump's frustration grows faster than his nose when he's telling lies. He starts yelling at his phone like it's a naughty puppy that just peed on his golden toilet.
Millions of Republicans, more all the time, are feeling the pressure. The pressure to vote for the party, to toe the line, to pull the lever the way you always did before.
There's a rigged trial. They rigged an election. The system is rigged. Mexico's going to pay for the wall.
I believe that Joe Biden had a terrible night last night. A terrible night. An F- night. It was a bad night. That doesn't change who Trump is.
Why won't you let me tweet? He screams, his face turning a shade of red that would make a tomato jealous. But here's the kicker, folks. After the Capitol riots on January 6, 2021, Twitter gave Donnie Diapers the boot. They permanently suspended him for inciting violence and spreading more fake news than a gossip magazine at a supermarket checkout. Talk about a plot twist. Now, you might be thinking, surely he knew about the ban, right? Well, apparently our stable genius was in such a tizzy over his golf game that he forgot all about it. It's like when you walk into a room and forget why you're there. Except instead of a room, it's the presidency. And instead of forgetting why he's there, he forgets he can't tweet anymore.
You know, the White House is more than just a building. It's more than 18 acres of land in Washington, D.C.
It's the place where Americans look for leadership when the night is at its darkest and when the dawn breaks brightest.
It's a commitment to the Republic and to our sacred Constitution.
In a moment of pure Trump rage, he hurls his phone into a nearby water hazard. As his precious device sinks faster than his approval ratings, you can almost see the gears grinding in his orange head. Maybe, he thinks, it's time for Truth Social. Because when reality doesn't suit you, why not make your own? Well, folks, our orange friend's wild ride from the golf course to Twitter meltdown has been quite the spectacle. But let's not forget, while Trump's antics might be comedy gold, the real joke's on us if we don't use our brains come election day. Remember, a smart voter is like kryptonite to these political clowns. So when it's time to hit the polls, vote like your sanity depends on it, because with characters like Grumpy Trumpy running around, it kind of does. Don't let the MAGA hat fool you. Critical thinking is the real superpower here. Stay informed, stay engaged, and for crying out loud, let's make sure our next president can at least swing a golf club without having a temper tantrum.